This is Team Indecisives Milestone 2 video for Project Colossus. The first thing to talk about is the Soldier UI class selection screen. So each player can choose their class and then ready up. The game does not continue until both players are readied up. The red boxes are temporary, as they will eventually be filled by rotating models of the class being chosen. Onto the soldiers themselves. This is the old model we used last semester, which was fine for the time being, but unfortunately the rigging for the model broke in Maya and became corrupted. So we ended up having to either stick with our basic animations or completely overhaul it. So instead we chose to overhaul it with 3 entirely different soldier models pulled from the asset store. There's a model for each class. Here's our assault model with machine gun and jetpack, our grenadier model with grenade launcher, and skulker model with sniper rifle. Note that some of the models aren't quite finished and the textures still need to be put on the guns. On the animation side of things, the soldiers are completely animated using content from Adobe's Mixanimo. The spine works so you can look up and down and he bends over properly. Strafing works in all directions, including diagonal. Animation speed is variant on how much you tilt the stick in a direction. And there's animations for jumping too. We also started adding some special effects like muzzle flash and particle effects on the jetpack and other abilities that need it. The last video showed what the soldiers look like from an outside perspective, but actually in the eyes of each soldier, there's another separate model just for first-person view that shows the gun moving around like it would in a typical FPS. Additionally, we have reload animations and unique reload sounds for each gun. There's also a UI indicator to show the player how long it will be until the reload is finished. Here is the assault and grenadier reloads. And here's the skulker reload. When the soldiers are in-game, we've also added damage indicators by a red vignette around the player's camera. Additionally, when a player dies, he now goes to a death cam, so the player on the right now gets to kind of spectate the game for a second while he waits to respawn. For general game logic, we've added a countdown state that happens when the Colossus toggles into the game. So the overlay comes up, says 3, 2, 1, and allows the player a little bit of leeway time before they jump right into the game. On the Colossus side of things, there's now a canvas on the back wall opposite where the Colossus spawns that gives them information like if they're in position to start the game, if they've won or lost, and the countdown to start the game in the first place. We also added a sort of robot announcer to the factory that speaks these statuses to the Colossus as well. Here's a clip of the Colossus dying and one of those audio files being played from the announcer. Behind the scenes in the announcer, we have a custom struct that allows you to throw in an audio clip and give it a name, so that globally you can call a method passing the name as a string and immediately to tell the announcer to say a line. We're using a very similar system for the wall canvas, where instead you pass in a child of the canvas itself and use a similar method to then display it. The final change I'll talk about is a major visual upgrade. We implemented Unity's post-processing stack across the entire project for every player. So now there is bloom, anti-alias, and a variety of other visual effects. You can see the text glow a lot more in the dark. The muzzle flash is much more apparent. Explosions look great. And the laser certainly pops out towards the soldiers as well. So we're really happy with how it's looking visually right now, and hopefully we can improve on it even more in the future. To end the video, I'll go over a couple details that may have been missed just in video footage. So first of all, we're getting rid of the conveyor belts in the future. We did retool them. They feel a little bit better, but they're not quite there yet. It does feel a little bit weird that the Colossus has to time when they want to grab something when throwing is already kind of a difficult thing in VR. So we're not sure how artistically we're going to handle it yet, but we want it so that items will spawn in a designated area and sit in the same spot waiting for the Colossus to take it. Then another item will spawn and so on. Hopefully it'll be easier to program than a moving conveyor belt that always either threw the object the wrong direction or placed it on the ground by accident. So we're just trying to figure that out, make it a little more easy to use that ability. Next, the Colossus UI is still on its way. The first iteration was a bit too much. We were going for something where you could grab and then drop abilities onto a Colossus figure in front of you at the same time that the soldiers are selecting their classes. But to do that would take quite a bit of time to set that scene up and make it look nice for the VR player. So we might just go with a laser pointer style input for VR. We just need to go over it and have some way for the Colossus to choose abilities. Lastly, we have some more assets lying around, mostly for the new Colossus ability that's on its way. That wraps up Milestone 2. We're pushing to finish up the rest of what I've talked about in Milestone 3 and the end of the project.